I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, July the 24th, where we're wondering about this cattle on feed report. We know it was bearish. How much is it going to affect the market? Will this be the, it's a lot more than a straw, will this be the railroad tie that breaks the camel's back and really drops this cattle market for a dive here? The cattle market has shrugged off so much here in the last several weeks. We've lost quite a bit of market position on your fat cattle market, but not really any more than everybody expected we would as we go into the dog days of summer. We always lose some market position, but it's kind of got its feet on the floor here in recent weeks. And just wondering, you know, we've had so many things come in, the heat, extreme heat. We thought that might be harder on the market, and the market kind of held up. Especially your feeder markets have been really strong. We've gotten into some heavier supplies of market ready cattle, heavier cattle on the market. That really hasn't broke the market too bad yet. Just a lot of different things. This BSE deal that come out last week didn't seem to bother the market, and but we're just wondering about this placements. Sometimes everybody thinks the cattle on feed report is going to be a big deal, and then it passes by and nothing ever happens. But I don't remember your analysts missing your placement numbers as bad as they missed them this time. And they really missed them to the bearish side. But you look at your board for last week, live cattle futures, the October contract ended the week at 117.40, down just 40 cents for the week. Now mind you, the cattle on feed report come out after the board was closed on Friday, so I would say we're sure in for some sharp losses, at least to start the day out on Monday. Feeder cattle, August contract, 152.95, down 132. But you look at that cattle on feed report that come out Friday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like I said, after most of your fat cattle trade was done, after most all of your feeder cattle auctions had been held and direct trade and everything, and after the board closed. But you look at it there, your inventories, head counts on July 1st come in at 104% of the same time a year ago, which was pretty close to estimates at 103. Your marketings come in at 104. We were looking for record marketings, and that was pretty close to the 105 that the analysts had estimated. Almost just short of 2 million head marketed in the month of June. But you look at the placement numbers, that's cattle that are placed into feeding facilities during the month of June. You come in at 116% of the same time a year ago. Your average of the analyst's guess was at 106%. That's a full 10% that they missed it. Unbelievable. Actually, if you go down to the decimal point, the average of the analyst's guess was 105.9. The high side, the farthest reach that was quoted there of the analyst's guess had the placements figured at 107, and to miss it that far, it's unbelievable. If you knew that we had a heavier calf crop, you knew we had more cattle being sold. If you just went to the most basic of anything, a data run to try to see what that might be. About 15 years ago when I was with USDA, I totally revamped your National Feeder Cattle Summary, where it quoted all the head counts that are reported by Market News all over the whole nation instead of just the top markets in each state. And I had a lot of analysts call me at that time and tell me it was giving them a little bit more of a direction on these placements. But if you ran the weekly auction receipts for the 5 weeks that ended in June, if you just ran that, they were 9% larger than the same time a year ago, the same sales the year before. And it's not all of them, but it's about as good as we could have done. If you'd have just guessed that 9 right there, you'd have been 2 points better than anybody else, the wildest guess that was on there, and a whole lot closer to what was going on. But you know, just can't believe they missed it that far. And we've got to figure out what the analysts always miss the placements, and it throws the market for a loop. we've got to figure out what's wrong, a better way to track these things. I know here, since I've been with DV Auction, we've got Cattle Market Central, Beef Market Central that's quoting these automated auction reports coming right off the block and through the computer systems. And if we could get to the point where all the sale barns were you know, cooperating with that and partnering with us in that and sharing that information, which we've got a slew of them now, but we continue to add them all the time, and we'd like to add as many as we can. Maybe we could get a better tie on auction receipts there, because there's so many sale barns that Market News doesn't cover, so you can never get those. But if we could, pretty much every sale barn except for a few smaller mom and pops and Oklahoma National Stockyards have, you know, automated, up-to-date clerking systems where we could pull that information right from the block. Everybody know what cattle are bringing all over the country, and we could also keep track of the receipts and head counts right there too. But it'd be great if we can get to that point someday. Hey, look at some other highlights on that report. The head counts of heifers and heifer calves that are on feed now and through June, 11% higher than the same time a year ago. So that goes to show you we kind of quit the herd rebuilding. Guys are not keeping as many heifers back now, and that's a good sign to see that. You look at see what the drought does to things. We know how dry it is in the Dakotas. Your South Dakota June placements of cattle on feed was up 67% compared to the same time a year ago. So they're having to pull a lot of those cattle off pasture and then put them in, pin them up, and start running the feed to them. But you look at some other reports that have wound up for last week that may play a part in this week's market. Your fat sold on Friday, mostly before that report, but a lot of people said they were still having the same offers after the report, which your fat cattle and your cattle on feed report don't have anything to do with each other, but it always lends you know, either support or pressure depending on what it is. But your fats were at 120 live and 190 dressed. Your slaughter was good for last week, 622,000, down just 7,000 from a big week the week before, but up 25,000 from the same week a year ago. Box beef cutout values average of the trade last week. Choice carcasses 207.88, down a little over $5 from the average of the previous week's sales there, and selects at 195.39, down 353, with that spread getting back to normal, about $12.50 there. But your cash feeders for last week, $3 to $6 higher, kind of getting back in the mainstream of things. A lot of it that propped the market up was some big sales on those videos right around the 4th of July there. Had some specials that were selling cattle really high, and it just, those big quotes out there were kind of pushing the whole market up, and we saw that big advance. Most of your big yearling sales were $3 to $6 higher last week. Didn't have a real good test of calves. Real-time index, Beef Market Central ended the week at 150.84, and that was on the rise. So everything was looking good, but just we don't know what's going to happen here. It just depends. I mean, anybody that just looks at the surface of things is going to think the market's going to be cheaper on Monday. I would expect everything to be cheaper on Monday, probably too, because everything was higher last week, and maybe just on a little bit on the high side. But if the board locks down the limit, it could be a scary deal. Hope the guys the best at quoting a market there. Some consignments at the Montgomery, Alabama stockyards. Got a board sale on this Monday here today. 70 loads of yearlings going to be there, and that's quite a sale, and you could sure get some good cattle there if you want to buy some to feed, and you can make that work. But that's the feeder flash for Monday.